How do you know that you're doing the right thing as far as your tikkun, as far as your this reincarnation? How do you know? You're working on your midot. The Vilna Gaon that we talked about earlier, about 2.5 hours ago, that they said is double Rav Zalman Mivolozhin, or more than that. He says the character traits of a person, that's his purpose. That's his purpose. Now the Ramban, Nachmanides, the Ramban wrote in Igeret Ramban, the letter that he wrote his son. Very, very good book to have, very good letter to have. You can get it from ArtScroll for $3. It's a book with commentary, and you should read it every day for the rest of your life. It's really, really wonderful. The letter itself is very short, it's 2-3 pages, but the commentary on it is very extensive, and you can learn a lot of musar from it. Anyway, the Ramban writes there's different character traits that a person needs to have, but he says, and he agrees with the Gemara and obviously all the other major Chachamim, the greatest midah to have, the greatest character trait to have is humility. Humility is the greatest one. The worst one to have is anger, which stems from arrogance. The reason why humility is the greatest is because when you minimize yourself, you automatically, by default, become a vessel for Torah. Hashem gives the Torah to the lowest places. Mount Sinai was not the tallest mountain. We said it yesterday. Mount Sinai was the lowest mountain. Hashem put, because the Mount Sinai was the most modest, Hashem gave the Torah over there. Moshe Rabbeinu was greater than everyone else. Prophet of all prophets, smarter than everyone else, rich. He was amazing. He was humbler than everyone else. He didn't give it to him because he was smart. He didn't give it to him because he was 7 meters tall. He didn't give it to him because he was strong. He didn't give it to him because he's smart. He didn't give it to him because he was rich. He didn't give it to him because of any other reason other than the fact that he was humble. And that's why at the end of the Torah it says he was the humblest man that ever lived. Meaning, not just in his generation or before, ever. No one will ever be more humble than Moshe Rabbeinu. No one will ever be more humble than Moshe Rabbeinu. But each one has to strive. Every one of us is obligated to strive to be humble. How do you humble yourself? By working on musar, working on your character traits. When you learn musar, there's the superficial type of learning where you just come, you listen, you read a book passively. But then to really take that teaching into your life, you have to write it down, you have to meditate on it, you have to think about it. How do I apply this in my life? Okay, she just yelled at me. What should I do? Well, the Baalei HaMusar would say, the greatest thing for me to do when someone's yelling at me is stay quiet. Why? Because a war requires two sides. An argument requires two sides. When it's just one, then it's just a crazy person. But it's when it's two sides, then it's an official argument. And in the book of Job, we say there's a verse in it, Va'olam omed al blima. What is the, Job asks Hashem, what is the world standing on? On nothing. The world is standing on nothing. So Chazal, the sages, explain to us in the oral Torah, and they say, what does it mean that the world stands on nothing? It stands on when people that have all the right, all the reasons, and all the causes to be angry and to respond, do nothing. Why? Because that's a midah of Hashem. That's what Hashem is doing every day. Every time we sin, Hashem should punish us. According to His law, we sin. A guy smokes a cigarette on Shabbat, his head should blow up. A guy turns the car on Shabbat, the car should blow up. A guy flies a plane on Shabbat, it should crash. A guy steals money, his hand should be chopped off instantly. Technically, the law says what the law says, but Hashem waits. Why? I love my kids. I want to do tshuva. I know they fell, they broke, they did this, but I love them. So I want to give them time. Time. A year, 2 years, 3 years, 30 years, 40, eventually run out of time. Eventually he could come to you in a dream and say, are you going to believe in me or not? And that's when he's telling you, you have to change. There's no more waiting.